ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the CWS. Ladies and gentlemen, I said last week that we would be taking a little trip to the beach. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and I feel like as well we need to have a bash. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bash at the beach. But what year are we going to? Well, why don't we go to July 7th, 1996 in Daytona Beach, Florida at the Ocean Arena where 8,300 fans witnessed Bash at the Beach 96. Now, if I recall, nothing important happened on this show, did it? Did it? Why don't we find out? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick things off with the first matchup. Psychosis versus Rey Mysterio Jr. in just a moment. But ladies and gentlemen, the hostile takeover will be taking place as in the main event, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, who was ironically on Judgment Day 2003, and a mystery partner will take on Macho Man Randy Savage, Lex Luger, and Sting in a 6-man tag team main event. This one's gonna be good. So, let's watch the first match. So, we just had Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis, and this is a great way to open up the show. You have Psychosis and Rey Mysterio who know each other very well. They can put on a great match. This was a good match throughout. Nothing really of no real botches to say at most. They just know each other so well and can put on a great match. Great way to open up the show. We have got Pronoun talking about his match with Ric Flair coming up. I actually cannot wait to see that. Ric Flair versus Pronoun. I think could be a good match coming up. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm having a think. I think something did happen on this show. I just can't remember what. Anyway, let's get to the next match. Is Big Bubba, who was the big boss man in WWF, versus John Tenta, who was Earthquake, in a pole match? I don't even know what this is. Let's watch it. So we just had Big Bubba and John Tenta, whatever his name is, in a silver dollars on a pole match. It's a pole match. Nothing really of note, just beating up, trying to get it, trying to get the silver dollars, doesn't work, not too bad. John Tenta would get the win after Jimmy Hart would climb the pole, get the silver dollars, climb down. John Tenta would get them, knock out Bubba Rogers, 1, 2, 3, gets the win. Also, John Tenta was a sumo wrestler, if you didn't know that one, so there's a bit of history for you. So, guys, we have got Macho Man, Luger, and Sting now talking to Mean Gene Okerlund, talking about the match coming up, the main event, the Hostile Takeover match. These guys are basically ready for war, and it looks like it. So, guys, let's go to the next match. So we just had Hacksaw Jim Duggan and DDP in a take fist match for the Lord of the Ring. I don't understand how a take fist match can make... I just don't understand it. But it was okay. It was a take fist match. You tape your fists up, you fight. It's a normal match. DDP would get the win with the diamond cutter for the 1, 2, 3. I've never seen Hacksaw Jim Duggan have a clean pin, so that's new to me. But yeah, Hacksaw comes back, knocks out DDP with a punch. It was just a standard match. Not too bad, but again, wasn't really needed for the tape fist. So we now have the Dungeon of Dooms, Kevin Sullivan and the Big Show, or Giant, as he's known, talking about their match up and coming with the 4 Horsemen. Oh, this is going to be good. So we just had the Taskmaster and the Giant talking about their upcoming tag team match with the 4 Horsemen. A really good way to involve this feud, I think. Basically, they're calling the Taskmaster the weak member of the group. And, Giant's basically like, no, he brought me to WCW. He gave me back my birthright because they were building him up as Andre the Giant's son. That was the storyline going into it. And yeah, these two, they can cut a promo. Sullivan can definitely cut a promo. And Jimmy Hart and Mean Gene Okerlund are just absolutely hilarious together. I like them together. Then we had Arn Anderson and Christopher Moore talking about the upcoming match, which is the tag team match. Talking also to the outsiders, and basically saying that you better watch out for Savage, Luger, and Sting, because they're going to kick your asses, and if they're done with you, we'll jump on you. And then talking about the match, saying that they're going to chop the Big Show the Giant down and beat up Kevin Sullivan. Benoit, silent but violent, and he is going to leave Kevin Sullivan for dead. Yeah. Let's carry on with the next match, ladies and gentlemen, which is the Public Enemy versus the Nasty Boys in a 4-man dog collar matchup. Oh, God. So we just had the 4-man dog collar match. It's your basic, just hardcore match, pretty much. Nasty Boys get the win after the table doesn't break, which looked fucking painful for one of the Public Enemy. It was an okay, it was basically just a brawl at the end of the day. These two teams can do it, and it was an okay brawl at the end of the day. So now we are getting word that, so Eric Bischoff was taken out by Hall and Nash at the Great American Bash by being put through a table. Nobody has seen him since. He's not been on the pre-show. He's not been on the card at all. He's not appeared at all. So the building of Eric Bischoff might have something to do with it, or he's not in the building, which I think is a really good way to build up this match coming up. Basically, Mean Gene is going to try and get a word with the outsiders. It doesn't happen. Bobby Heenan basically is like, bribe one of the police officers to let them in. And now we have got the WCW Cruiserweight title match, Disco Inferno versus Dean Malenko. This is going to be a one-sided match. So we just had Disco Inferno versus Dean Malenko for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship, and this match was actually okay. I mean, there was a lot of it basically just turning out to be Disco trying not to dance to try and get the pin. It was good. Dean is basically just kicking his ass. Dean retains the title, but shows respect to Disco Inferno for giving him giving him a decent challenge. Not one of Disco Inferno's greatest matches, or Glenn Gilberti. But yeah, not one of his best matches, I thought. But a great storytelling on how he wants to perform and actually be like, dancing, but, trying to get the win. It was good at the end of the day. So, we have the first of 3 Horseman matches. We have got Joe Gomez versus Steve Monroe McMichael. Oh, goody. So we just had Joe Gomez versus Steve Monroe McMichael, and it was a match. I mean, not the best match ever, but it was a decent match. McMichael would get better, but not at this moment in time. He was a 4 horseman, for fuck's sake, and he's not one of the best, I don't think. I mean, out of all the members of the 4 horsemen, he's definitely one of the weaker ones of the group. Now we've got Ric Flair, Miss Elizabeth, and woman, better known as Nancy Sullivan, talking to Mean Gene about the upcoming match with him and Conan. I'm actually looking forward to this one. I think this one will be a good match. Woman is all over Mean Gene, and Mean Gene is just acting like fucking Jerry Lawler, but kind of works in a weird way. I mean, at least you can actually believe this, and Jerry Lawler's not perving over fucking 20-something year olds when he's 40-something, kind of thing. But this was, I mean, the promo was good. It was a decent promo from all three people. Elizabeth doesn't really talk that much, but she can talk. She is an okay talker. She can be a good talker when you give her the right lines to work with. And Nancy Benoit, good manager, good talker. I will talk more about what happened with Nancy, Kevin, and Chris coming up at the when the tag team match happens. So now we are going to have Ric Flair versus Conan for the US heavyweight title. Hopefully this one will be good. We just had Conan versus Ric Flair for the US Heavyweight Championship, and I hate to say it, but it wasn't good. The beginning of it was great, I thought. It was a great way to open up the show. But the ending sucked. There was just too much interference on Woman and Miss Elizabeth's parts. This was just, it wasn't good. I thought this match, if Woman and Miss Elizabeth were basically ejected from ringside, at least then they had a good match. But at this moment in time, it just didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work. It just, to me, it didn't. And it really upsets me because these two could go. Flair can go. Conan's a damn good wrestler. They should have just had a straight up one-on-one match, not basically a 3-on-1 handicap match at the end of the day. So guys, Mean Gene is now eavesdropping on the Outsiders, trying to work out what's going on, what's going to happen, all that jazz. And now we are going to be going into the tag team match with the Four Horsemen, Arn Anderson and Benoit, taking on the Dungeon of Doom's Kevin Sullivan and the Giant. Let's watch this one. So we just had the Four Horsemen versus the Dungeon of Doom, and it was a bog standard match. Not a major development in, well, it would be a development in the feud, but the main focal point of this was Benoit versus Sullivan. So, in case you do not know, I'm going to blast through this as fast as I can. Chris Benoit, Kevin Sullivan and Nancy Sullivan were married, obviously, who is Woman. And they decided to book a turn for Woman, who would then say that they had a liaison with Benoit. Unfortunately, that turned out to actually be true, and Kevin Sullivan, as most people said, booked his divorce. The problem is, Benoit and Sullivan, because of this, absolutely hated each other. Like, they fucking despised each other. You can tell at the Great American Bash, the last pay-per-view to this, they basically had a no-holds-barred match, and they just kicked the shit into each other. They have done for multiple pay-per-views. They just beat the piss into each other. Not a good scene backstage. As we would later know, Benoit would marry Nancy, have a son, and then what happened in 2006 happened. And there's a lot of people that state that Kevin Sullivan was involved, and it's like, no, fuck off. But ladies and gentlemen, that's basically what happened. And as well, Giant and Sullivan get the win with Big Show. Get the choke slam on Anderson for the 1-2-3. Not really, Big Show wasn't really involved in the match. He got brought to the back early on in the match to let Sullivan get the shit kicked into him. There was a moment when Arn basically tried to hold his hand out to Sullivan, but backs it away. Again, nice storytelling between Anderson and Sullivan on this one. So all we have left is the main event, which is the hostile takeover match. So let's watch this one. So it's that pay-per-view. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the birth of the NWO. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in the main event, the six-man tag, it ended up being Hulk Hogan turning on WCW and joining the Outsiders. But ladies and gentlemen, how was the match like? Well, it was an okay match, not a major match. The problem is, most people remember the moment after the match, the promo after, not the match itself. It was a really good match. Back and forth, Sting basically getting his butt kicked until Savage gets tagged in, and then Hogan comes out when there's all four men on the floor. But at the same time, it was a good showing. And then the promo happened, and the promo was good. But how did we get to the NWO? Well, I'm going to give you guys a quick history lesson. So, ladies and gentlemen, Hulk Hogan left the WWF back in 1993 to basically be in movies. He would have a few matches in WCW. He would have a few matches in NJPW, 4 matches. 3 of them with the Great Muta. 2 against him, 1 in a tag team match. And the final match would be against Tatsumi Fujinami around February time. But, ladies and gentlemen, how did Scott Hall and Kevin Nash come to WCW? Well, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall got offers to work lesser dates and more money. So Hall snapped it up. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, Hall was supposed to work WrestleMania 12. He was supposed to have a Miami street fight with Goldust. And, well, it turned into the Hollywood Backlot Brawl with Roddy Piper. If you want to see my opinion on that, I will leave a link in the description to my to Two Fat Men Review WrestleMania 12 with Alex, with a friend of mine called Alex. But Kevin Nash got a high money offer, around $1.2 million. He actually went to Vince and said, hey, I kind of don't want to go to WCW because they damn near killed my career the first go round. If you match the offer, I'll stay, being a businessman. Unfortunately, around this time, WWE wasn't making that much money. So unfortunately, Vince refused. And well, Kevin Nash would sign the deal a few days later. But how did the NWO come about? Well, that's simple. Eric Bischoff was in Japan at an NJPW show where he witnessed a feud, a company-wide feud with the NJPW and the UWBF, which is, I can't remember what it was called at the time, but it was a company-based feud. And it culminated at the show that Eric Bischoff was at, where he had the idea of bringing that to America. But he needed an idea, and well, he's just gotten two of the biggest names that WWF had to offer. So why not stick them together and call them the Outsiders? And that is the origins of the NWO. What did I think of the pay-per-view on a whole? Not good. Not the best. Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis was possibly one of the best matches of the night. The Ford Collar Dodd match was okay. It wasn't the best match in the world, but it was okay. The main event, a lot of people will forget the main event. They just remember the after-match promo. The Dungeon of Doom versus the Four Horsemen tag team match was okay. Pronoun versus Flair could have been good, but it wasn't, unfortunately. I hate saying that. And the matches felt a bit down. So, does everybody remember the pay-per-view? No, most people remember the promo afterwards. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 57 of the CWS. But where are we going to next? Well, since I've done WWE, WCW, and ECW, why don't we jump to the independents? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching episode 57 of the Classic Wrestling Series. As always, stay safe, keep it tight, smile more, wash those hands. See you later, guys.